Prince William is mourning the loss of his beloved grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, and as the royal family gathers to honor her legacy, emotions run high. On her birthday, the royals gathered to pay tribute, remembering the late monarch, whose impact on the family and the world was profound. But what happened during the reading of Queen Elizabeth II's will would shock everyone and change the royal family forever. As Prince William stood to read his grandmother's final wishes, the atmosphere in the room grew thick with anticipation. The reading of a will is always a moment filled with tension, but this occasion was different. This wasn't a simple division of assets. It was a revelation that would have far-reaching consequences, threatening to upend everything the royal family stood for. As William began reading, the room fell silent. The royal family was about to be confronted with truths that had been hidden for decades, truths that would change their future. What shocking secrets did Queen Elizabeth II leave behind? Could she have been the victim of a well-hidden crime? Were there deep family secrets that had been buried for years? As William's voice filled the room, the contents of the will were slowly unveiled, and with each line, a new layer of complexity emerged. The royal family had always been shrouded in tradition and secrecy, but now they were forced to confront uncomfortable truths that would alter the course of their history. The Queen's will wasn't just about distributing her wealth. It was a strategic blueprint for the future of the monarchy, designed to ensure that the family's power and legacy would endure. Her decisions weren't made lightly. She had carefully considered the future of the monarchy, and the role each family member would play in its survival. William, as the future king, would now bear the heavy responsibility of ensuring that his grandmother's vision for the monarchy would come to fruition. One of the most shocking revelations was the handling of the royal properties. For centuries, iconic residences like Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle were seen as the personal estates of the royal family, with the reigning monarch inheriting them. However, the Queen's will painted a very different picture. These properties, which were once considered family heirlooms, were revealed to be part of the Crown estate. This meant that they didn't belong to any one individual, but were instead to be managed as part of the royal institution. This revelation stunned the royal family and the public, as it upended long-standing traditions and expectations. Even Balmoral Castle, the Queen's cherished Scottish retreat, was subject to unexpected arrangements. Rather than being passed directly to Charles or William, it was to be shared among several family members. This decision created a sense of uncertainty and tension within the royal family, as each member had their own emotional attachment to the property. Balmoral was more than just a home. It was a symbol of the Queen's personal connection to her family and to the land. Now, its future was uncertain. Financially, Queen Elizabeth's wealth was legendary, but the full extent of her fortune had always been a mystery. Her will unveiled staggering sums of money, accumulated through shrewd investments, private ventures, and her personal art collection. The Queen had amassed an impressive fortune, but her will made it clear that not all of it would go to the monarchy. Some assets were earmarked for specific family members, sparking debates about favoritism and the future balance of power within the royal family. Prince William, as he read the will, began to understand the enormity of his grandmother's decisions. The distribution of her wealth wasn't just about material gain, it was about power and legacy. The Queen had a long-term vision for the monarchy, and every decision she made was part of a larger strategy. William realized that the responsibility of carrying out these wishes would fall to him, and he would have to navigate the complex relationships within his family to ensure that his grandmother's vision would endure. The surprises didn't end with financial matters. The Queen's personal collection of art and heirlooms also held shocking revelations. Paintings by masters like Rembrandt and Vermeer, which were long thought to be part of the public royal collection, were revealed to be private treasures. These priceless works of art weren't just decorative, they held deep historical significance. The Queen had assigned specific family members to inherit these treasures, bypassing the traditional expectation that they would be passed to the reigning monarch. This decision raised questions about the future stewardship of such cultural artifacts, and whether they would remain within the royal family's reach. The Queen's jewelry collection, often seen as the crown jewels in their own right, was another source of intrigue. The Queen's tiaras, necklaces, and brooches weren't just ornaments, they carried centuries of history and symbolism. Some pieces were to be passed on to Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, as a fitting tribute to her role as the future Queen Consort. Other pieces, however, were reserved for William's children, ensuring that the younger generation would carry forward the family's legacy. This marked a shift in tradition, as these treasures were no longer being consolidated within the direct line of succession, but were instead being distributed among a wider circle of family members. Beyond material possessions, there were also unveiled a treasure trove of historical documents, rare books, and family manuscripts. These items were more than just keepsakes. They were records of the monarchy's deep-rooted history. The Queen's decision to allocate some of these pieces to specific family members, rather than keeping them within the royal archives, demonstrated her intent to decentralize the preservation of the monarchy's legacy. However, this distribution left many wondering if the monarchy's unity could withstand such changes. King Charles III, now the reigning monarch, inherited not only the crown, but also a vast array of personal estates and private investments. The Queen's will revealed the extent of her private wealth, including properties like Sandringham and Balmoral, which had been passed down through generations. These estates, which had once been seen as the personal property of the monarch, now represented a heavy burden for Charles. The wealth and assets left by the Queen were not just symbols of power. They were tools that Charles would need to wield carefully to maintain the monarchy's stability in an era of growing scrutiny. Yet, it wasn't just the financial and material matters that would shape the monarchy's future. The Queen's personal possessions, including her jewelry and other cherished items, were divided in ways that seemed designed to reflect her emotional bonds with various family members. While William and Catherine were natural recipients of many of these treasures, the allocation of certain items to less prominent royals hinted at an effort to balance the scales within the family. This approach, while thoughtful, also sowed seeds of tension among those who felt overlooked or undervalued. As William finished reading the will, it was clear that the Queen's final wishes extended beyond her immediate family. Charitable causes and institutions she held dear were also prominently featured in her plans. These gestures underscored her broader sense of duty, reminding the world that her legacy wasn't confined to royal walls. However, even these decisions carried a weight of controversy, as questions arose about the monarchy's continued role in public life and the distribution of its resources. The reading of the Queen's will marked a turning point for the royal family. For Prince William, the responsibility of navigating these revelations was monumental. As he read through the document, the implications for his future role as king became increasingly clear. The Queen's decisions, while rooted in tradition, were also a bold step into uncharted territory. The balance between preserving the monarchy's heritage and adapting to modern expectations was now his to maintain. Buckingham Palace, once a fortress of stability, found itself at the center of change. The Queen's will, with its unexpected twists and profound implications, left the royal family reeling. The monarchy's future, shaped by her final wishes, would require careful stewardship. Whether the royal family could weather the challenges ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear: the monarchy would never be the same. For the British public, the revelations were a reminder that even the most venerable institutions are not immune to upheaval. The decisions surrounding the Queen's will carried a weighty mix of tradition and practicality, aimed at keeping the monarchy's roots firm while adapting to a world that expects more. King Charles found himself at the center of this crossroads, holding a responsibility far beyond personal gain. As a monarch, his mission was to honor the immense legacy left by his mother while steering the institution toward relevance in a rapidly shifting world. For Prince William, the inheritance of royal properties and heirlooms wasn't just a milestone, it was a defining moment in his path as the future king. These newly inherited treasures didn't just symbolize his growing power, but marked the beginning of a new chapter, where he would have to balance the weight of tradition with the demands of modernity. The Queen's will wasn't just a division of wealth, it was a detailed plan reflecting her vision for the future. Prince William was tasked with safeguarding the legacy of these assets, from jewels to estates, while embodying the values instilled in him by his grandmother. This moment wasn't just about managing treasures. It was about honoring a monarchy that values history, culture, and family ties. Her rare books, antiques, and other personal possessions were not merely distributed, they were thoughtfully entrusted to specific family members. This ensured that each piece continued to tell the story of a monarchy deeply intertwined with its past, while also hinting at its evolving future. Balmoral and Sandringham, the Queen's cherished private estates, stood as physical embodiments of royal history and personal memories. Balmoral, her peaceful Scottish retreat, wasn't just a property, it was a haven where the royal family found solace away from public life. Similarly, Sandringham was steeped in sentiment, hosting countless family Christmases, and marking pivotal moments in royal history. These estates, more than just bricks and mortar, symbolized a lineage of traditions that had shaped generations. Their division, a calculated move by the Queen, revealed a shift in royal dynamics. The future of these properties, tied so intimately to the monarchy's identity, was now in the hands of a new generation.